What's up, guys? We are back with another Mondo Masters of the Universe review, taking a look at, of course, another 1/6 scale figure, and this is the latest villain in the line, Faker. So we've got a repaint figure with a little bonus, since this is the Mondo exclusive version. This guy has the same slipcover that Skeletor has, so he's got the Snake Mountain slipcover, so you got the snake, the purple motif, and then the back has got the big face there. Of course, it's a slipcover, so you can pop that guy off. And then you've got the fantastic packaging underneath. I really dig the packaging for this line. Even if you don't take them out, which, I mean, why would you not take these out? But if you choose to keep them in, fantastic presentation. So you've got a shot of Faker here in blue with the orange cross. You've got the Mondo exclusive sticker down there. And then the back of the package has a fully colored piece of artwork, which just looks pretty stunning with all those colors. Everything's really bright and vibrant. Absolutely love it. And then, of course, this has the magnets on the side, so you can pop this guy open. And then you've got the orange iron cross on the inside there. And then you've got Faker all in his glory with the bonus item up there in the corner. So yeah, it's a pretty stellar package. I love the boxes for these. I just love how everything kind of comes together and it just looks great. But we're gonna pop this guy out, so let's do it. Let's take a look. And here he is out of the package, our 1/6 scale Faker. This is the Mondo exclusive Faker, if you weren't already aware, because I have changed him up, because this is the head that I want to talk about, the exclusive head that comes with this particular version. I mean, obviously you can see why. So let's jump right in and see what this guy can do. He is, of course, parts reuse galore, because, well, they're all built on the same body so far, and of course it's Faker, so it makes perfect sense. There's really no complaining there, it's just what it is. So the head can look up, and he looks down really well, bobble side to side. Full rotation, nothing of course getting in the way there. Arms go out at the shoulder and then they rotate. You do have a bicep swivel. You've got a single jointed elbow. You've got ball hinges at the wrist. Mine tend to want to pop out really badly on this figure. Once they're in, but when I try to move them, I am having a little issue. Your mileage is probably going to vary on that. But they do hinge up and down, and then of course you've got full rotation there. We have got a diaphragm cut on this guy. Mine is incredibly tight right now, but it does help to swivel him from side to side as well as bobble him. I figure I just need to work it out a little bit more. And then he's got a ball peg at the waist to allow for twist, a little bobble side to side at the actual waist itself, and then it helps him to crunch forward and backward. And then from the waist down, this guy has pretty decent leg movement, save for maybe one thing. So the legs go out pretty far. They kick forward. Not as good as they probably should, but they do kick forward a little bit. They go backwards really nicely, though, and then you can cut in there at the thigh to swivel. You've got swiveling knees at the top of the knees, and then you've got a double jointed knee as well. You've also got swivel at the bottom of the knees. Instead of having an actual boot cut, it's double knee swivel with a double knee joint. And then you've got hinges at the ankle, but they only go backwards. I wish they went forward. That's kind of my negative there. And then you've got full rocker. Like, there's nothing getting in the way of this ankle in terms of rock. So he does have pretty good movement from the legs down. It really just comes down to those ankles being slightly irksome. So if you've messed around again with He-Man or even with Skeletor, you know exactly what's going on with this guy. He does move pretty well for his size. There are a couple things that, you know, maybe aren't the greatest, especially with the ankles on this guy. I wish they hinged forward, but otherwise, I like how He-Man moves, and, well, I like how this guy moves as well. I would imagine by now it's pretty obvious that I'm 100% invested in this line. I've got all the figures they've released so far, including the Hot Topic Skeletor, because I couldn't just resist that one. I'm not going to do a review on him, but this guy is one that I was really waiting for, and it really comes down to just the fact that I love Faker. I think he's an awesome character. I really love the idea of a blue robot He-Man, and well, that's what we've got here. So we've got the He-Man body basically in its entirety except for the armor on the chest. Everything else is the same as far as He-Man. So you've got a very nice powdery sky blue color going on for the chest. Of course, you've got the robot control panel underneath the armor. You can take the armor off, but you've got to pop the arms apart to get it off, and I'm not going all that trouble to do that. I don't have a plan to display him without the armor, so I'm leaving it on for sure. I really like Skeletor's armor in orange. Obviously, I like orange anyway. I'm sure you already know that. But I really think it works well against the blue on this figure. Blue and orange, as far as being complementary colors, they work really well on this figure. I'm very happy with it. I love the red jewel in there. The bone cross on on the chest. It all just looks really fantastic. You know, it's got a nice leathery texture to it. You can see all the rivets that run up the back, and it's all got little, almost sculpted kind of wrinkle lines in it, which I think work exceptionally well. You've got the purple and black straps here, in contrast to what He-Man has with a silver plate on these. And then, of course, you've got the loincloth on this guy, which I know rubs some people the wrong way. You can remove it. You can take it off. If you pop him apart at the waist, you can pull it off, and he does have the loincloth underneath. I am okay with this. It works really well in the confines of this type of design for these characters for me. I do like the fact that they give you the furry loincloth underneath, but this works at this scale. It's not a bad thing at all. I really like it. It flows with the armor choices, and it looks good from just a kind of skirty loincloth kind of perspective. And then, of course, from the legs down, it's just kind of more of the same as far as what we know from the He-Man figure. So more of that powdery blue, sky blue color for the skin tone with tons of shading everywhere. I mean, every inch of this figure that is musculature is shaded, but that's not unique to Faker. He-Man is just the same, but then you've got the furry boots down here with actual fur pieces that wrap around the top of the boots, and more of that purple and black color scheme, just, you know, to denote the whole Skeletor affiliation. So there's a lot to like about this figure. If you're a fan of how He-Man looks, then I would be surprised if you didn't like this more. I feel like this figure honestly works better just because of this particular color scheme. There's really not much to be upset about when it comes to this guy. I'm really a fan of Faker as a character, as a vintage toy, as pretty much any toy we've ever gotten, but it works really well at this scale, and there's a ton of detail packed into just every nook and cranny on this guy. But that doesn't even go into detail on the head yet, which realistically is the reason to buy this figure. We've already got all of these parts in other figures so far. They're just colored differently, but this head sculpt is something else. And like I said, this is of course the Mondo exclusive head sculpt. We do have other heads to talk about, but this is the one that really made me want to get this figure and get this particular edition. I've gotten all the other Mondo exclusives, so I'm not planning on stopping anytime soon, but this is the head sculpt that really screams Faker to me, because I like the He-Man head sculpt, but I don't like it more than I like the Skeletor head sculpt. So this is one where I've gotten another opportunity to maybe throw a different head into the ring for my favorite, and this one might be the favorite at this point because, well, look at it. It's beautiful. It's got that very Terminator-esque thing going on with the endoskeleton showing through, nice metallic features, that full mouth of teeth shining through the broken and shattered skin that's over top of it. And he just looks pissed. I'm really happy with the way this turned out, with kind of the black underneath that skin, and then the silver, the red eyes, his very red-orange hair with a nice amount of wash in there as well. It's that same He-Man style head sculpt, but if you aren't really a fan of that head sculpt, and I know it's kind of controversial, this is a way to get around it because you kind of lose a lot of that detail and you just go full robot mode on this one. And I think they did a bang-up job translating this idea of the battle damage Faker into 1/6 scale form. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy is pretty well stocked. He isn't as stocked as He-Man and Skeletor, but that's just, you know, the kind of the nature of Faker. He gets a little bit of everything. He doesn't have a lot of stuff that's really specific to him, which works fine for me because, well, he's a blue He-Man for the most part. So you've got extra hands to begin with. As you can see, I've already swapped one out. So you've got a sword-holding hand for his right and his left. You've got a set of those. And then you've got a set of trigger finger hands for gun purposes. So basically the same kind of stuff that we've seen with the other figures, really. We do have extra head sculpts. This is, of course, considered an accessory to begin with because it's not what he comes with in the package. I just wanted to talk about it early. So we've got the standard head sculpt here, which is just the He-Man head that's been repainted with the blue paint with some extra blue shading, red eyes, and red hair. I will go out and say that I think this particular color scheme suits this head sculpt a little bit better. I think it looks a little better just in general. I know a lot of folks really aren't happy with that He-Man head sculpt, and I know that it's not perfect, but I think it works better in this particular color. And then you've also got, you know, the one that everybody knows is coming. We've got the vintage style head sculpt, which honestly I think works really well in this color, just like the Skeletor head works really well in the vintage schemes. It's less realistic, if that makes sense, because it looks creepy on He-Man. This is still not something I want to display, but it's funny, and I think it works pretty well in the blue. You, of course, have got his power sword. So this, of course, has the ram's head at the bottom, you know, for Skeletor, and everything is the same. What's different about this one in particular is that a lot of the details are done up in kind of a nice orange gold hue, just to differentiate it and throw a little Faker into it. You've got the massive shield here, which is more done up again in like kind of rusty orange and gold colors. So we've seen this before. You've got the strap and the handle on the backside, and it looks great. This thing is a hefty piece of plastic too. You've got the two-handed gun here that you can use, which again is more of that same Faker color. So this is the gun that we saw with He-Man previously. And then you've of course got the axe over here, more of the same stuff we've seen, so just a recolor, but it works really well. I really, really dig these accessories when it comes to this color scheme. I think they work exceptionally well. And then last but not least, you've also got his sheath for his sword, and just like Skeletor, you've got a snake at the bottom rather than having a battle cat like He-Man does. So more of that Skeletor influence when it comes to these. And this guy does come with one of the Mondo stands as well, but that's not exciting. No one cares about stands. We want to see weapons and stuff. And I think he comes with a pretty solid array. Again, just not as much as He-Man. Like, he doesn't come with the MOTU movie gun that He-Man came with. He doesn't come with a Havoc staff or anything like that. Some of the more character-specific things he doesn't come with, but he gets kind of the best of both worlds when it comes to having Skeletor influences and then, of course, having He-Man influences. So at the end of the day, this is, I mean, it's another winner. There's really no way for me to say it otherwise. I've been a big proponent of this line ever since I knew it existed. I have long been waiting for these figures to come out, and we're finally getting a nice stride going when it comes to getting these guys out, from He-Man to Skeletor to Faker, and this guy is, again, I've said it enough, a favorite of mine when it comes to characters, and I think he works really, really well at this scale. I think they translated all of the mishmash parts from He-Man and Skeletor to this one product really nicely. Skeletor's armor looks fantastic in orange. This body looks great in blue, as we already knew with Skeletor, but in this scheme, it works really well. The battle damaged head is amazing. The accessory array is fantastic. Even the vintage toy head works on this guy, just like it works better on Skeletor. I think it works a lot better on this one because it's not as human looking thanks to that skin tone. So if you're a fan of this stuff, there is really no reason to not get this guy. Faker is, I mean, he's a must-have MOTU character in any line, and you'd be foolish to pass this guy up. He is pretty fantastic to play around with. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mondo 1/6 scale exclusive Faker. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.